AEW President Tony Khan refuses to comment on a potential CM Punk return as well as the details surrounding Brawl Out, but he also has revealed that he was interested in purchasing WWE and has commented on the takeover of Endeavour and the merger between WWE and UFC. An update on the ticket sales for All In at London's Wembley Stadium 2, as over 65,000 tickets have been distributed for the event. Jungle Boy reveals he prefers wrestling than cutting promos, and Matt Hardy reveals how the firm deletion match came together. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about CM Punk and Tony Khan. And the AEW president, CEO, head of creative, general manager has remained stum when it comes to a possible CM Punk return. Now, Punk is expected to return to AEW for the start of the company's Collision show. However, AEW president Tony Khan still refuses to share any details about the controversial wrestler's current status within the company. Quote, "I can't comment on that," he told the Maggie and Perloff show when asked about Punk potentially returning at an upcoming Chicago show. Quote, "But I do think it's exciting that AEW is running a lot of big events. Chicago has been one of the best cities for AEW for a long time, and I'm very excited to be back there." Punk hasn't been seen since AEW All Out, which saw him pick up an injury, verbally lash out at several co-workers at the post-show media scrum, and reportedly got into a scuffle with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks backstage. Khan hasn't opened up about the altercation, colloquially known as Brawl Out, since it happened, but he does believe the company has grown since then. Quote, "I can't really comment. I haven't talked about that particular situation since it happened specifically, but I think in the time since AEW has continued to hit new heights and grow, I have a lot of respect for all the people you just said as professional wrestlers. Now, it remains to be seen if Punk does return to AEW. However, recent reports have noted that he's supposedly been pitching to work with Samoa Joe for his first program back. The rumours have teased him entering into a feud with Chris Jericho as well. But Khan has commented on a variety of other matters too. One being, I guess, surrounding possibly CM Punk in this Collision show. This past Wednesday, last Wednesday, AEW President Tony Khan announced that he will have an announcement on the May 17 edition of AEW Dynamite. But in doing so, told fans to pay attention to TNT, which airs AEW's Friday night program Rampage. Khan is adamant that he didn't misspeak. In the same interview with Maggie and Perloff, Khan said that the network will be involved in some capacity, but he was tight-lipped on what that capacity might be. Perloff tried to goad Khan into saying whether or not it would involve the popular TNT program inside the NBA, and Khan seemingly confirmed that the announcement would not involve the basketball panel show. The upcoming announcement likely deals with AEW Collision, the reported third weekly show from the promotion, which will also see the roster split between Dynamite and Collision brands sometime this summer. The third show is said to be part of a massive new television rights deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. Khan remarked in the interview that the initial deal between AEW and WBD was a startup deal that was made at a party in Beverly Hills, and Khan credits with helping the promotion get its foot in the door. While it's good news for AEW fans overall, the deal of course means the end of cult shows such as AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, both of which used to be broadcast on AEW's YouTube channel. But between Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and also the 2-hour Ring of Honor weekly television show on Honor Club, AEW was running out of time to tape all of the programs, and of course AEW programming is becoming exclusive to WBD stations as well. So what are your thoughts on Tony Khan refusing to comment on a CM Punk return, AEW Collision, and the announcement next week? Is it just Khan trying to remain as quiet as possible? Can Khan even speak about what happened at Brawl Out? Will he open up about it in the future? Let me know your thoughts as always in the comment section below. Now, at one point, there were rumors going around that the Khan family was interested in purchasing WWE. Of course, we know that didn't happen, but there were significant and major outlets suggesting that the Khan family were certainly in the running to purchase World Wrestling Entertainment. While WWE was ultimately bought by Endeavour, Tony Khan confirmed to the Maggie and Perloff show that he was interested in purchasing the company. The AEW CEO didn't go into details regarding how far his interest in WWE went. He did state that it will be, quote, very very interesting to see what happens with that sale. Certainly, in many ways, it's a big positive to the pro wrestling business. Now, as far as the actual further quotes about it, it's quite interesting. He said, quote, "I can't speak to that except to say that I was interested. It will also be very interesting to see what happens with that sale. Certainly, in many ways, it's a big positive to the pro wrestling business, and I think the huge attendance numbers and TV and streaming numbers for pro wrestling and the great sales for AEW on pay-per-view and all the big merchandising numbers show that pro wrestling is really back as an industry in many major ways in 2023, and AEW is a big part of the conversation. That's all been really positive for us." Of course, while Khan wasn't the man who ended up purchasing the company, the fact that WWE was able to get the deal done put a big spotlight on the industry. With WWE thriving in international markets and AEW growing as a company, this is certainly a positive period for the industry as a whole, which Khan has noted, like we just said. AEW is set to continue its own growth, to continue adding to the business, with the company set to gain its largest ever attendance in London this coming summer at All In. We'll talk about ticket sales in just a second, but certainly, again, really positive stuff. Really interesting to know that there was legitimate interest. I don't know how far, if they had any talks with WWE, with Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, they would have been, and the Reign Group, of course, they would have been the people really facilitating that transaction, that deal. But it's an interesting what if the Khan family had won that, but we don't really know how serious their interest was. But according to Khan, they were interested. Now, of course, All In at London's Wembley Stadium is coming up later this summer, and an update has emerged on ticket sales for AEW All In, revealing how many seats are currently available for the event. When AEW first announced that the company was going to run Wembley Stadium, many fans were curious about how much of the 90,000-seat stadium AEW would be able to fill. Following Tony Khan confirming that 60,000 fans had bought tickets for the August 27 event, it was reported that the stadium is set to hold 74,000 fans. Per a new update from WrestleTix, as of 10 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, that being May 14, 65,979 tickets had been distributed, an estimated 61,346 paid, meaning that 8,046 seats or tickets were still available. Sharing Brandon Thurston's report that AEW is holding back 15,000 seats for various reasons, WrestleTix tweeted, quote, "Resale is resale on this map only, not StubHub. Max setup is every possible seat on this map, 96,476, but we know some sections can't be opened. I'm keeping track of it in case the floor changes. That's an easy way to catch it." Brandon Thurston on WrestleNomics Radio reported there are roughly 15,000 seats AEW is holding back for various reasons, sightlines, wanting other seats to sell first, etc. This explains the gap you've seen with other estimates coming in high. As a result, this map will change, probably a lot. I'm attempting to track it daily, also capturing screenshots of the map zoomed out, as can be seen on the tweet. But certainly, even they're already going to have their record attendance, but selling at over 61,000 and certainly distributing over 65,000 is significant. And this is, of course, remember, not a single match has even been announced for AEW All In at Wembley Stadium yet, so it's already a massive success for All Elite Wrestling. Now, as All Elite Wrestling closes in on a huge event at Wembley Stadium, AEW President Tony Khan took a moment to reflect on the company's growth since its launch in 2019. Speaking on that Maggie and Perloff show once again, Khan recalled the humble offer he received from the president of TBS in TNT to get the AEW product up and running. Quote, "This thing started when I was at a party in Beverly Hills and I was visiting a friend who happened to be the president of TBS and TNT at the time. Essentially, he gave me a startup deal and it didn't pay great, but he gave us a chance to get our foot in the door and start what had become the true challenger brand in professional wrestling worldwide," Khan said. 4 years later, AEW is expecting All In to be their biggest show to date, with over 60,000 tickets sold so far. Khan says they have generated a gate of more than $8 million. All In, of course, will take place later on this summer as AEW heads to London, England for their first show across the pond. All In will also be the first of 3 big events within the span of a month, as AEW presents All Out the week after, followed by Grand Slam shortly thereafter that. As AEW gears up for a historic event, Khan mentioned that he has more exciting news to share later this week on TBS. Of course, that is expected to be the Collision show, and one would think CM Punk would be a part of All In at Wembley Stadium as well. But what about AEW World Champion MJF? Well, it would be safe to assume that considering the grandeur of August 27's AEW All In event at London's Wembley Stadium, that would guarantee the appearance of the company's #1 star. However, when it comes to MJF, you can never be so sure. Never want to mask his true feelings things or turn down his heel dial, the AEW World Champion would recently comment on AEW's upcoming international show for the first time in a promotional video published by AEW's Twitter account. When asked about his feelings on the event, Max wouldn't shy away from showing his personal displeasure. He said, quote, "It doesn't get me excited. I'm glad everyone else is. I'd rather die than have to go over there, but I'm sure Tony Khan is going to make me because he sucks." While still clearly not pleased about it, MJF would seem to recognise the importance of the event to AEW and history-making capabilities. He further commented, quote, "Every single show we put on is the best because we have the best talent pool. We have the highest energy crowds and we have the biggest star of them all, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. It's the one show you need to go to because what we're doing is we're making history. It's going to be the biggest crowd in the history of this promotion we've ever been in front of. It's going to be the loudest, most obnoxious, most drunk, most European fans we've ever been in front of." So if you needed any clarification on whether MJF would be there, certainly there you have it, although it's certainly a great reluctance of the champion, it must be said. But MJF is going to be there. I suppose the big question is he going to be the AEW World Champion when he arrives in the UK as well? That's because he's going to be defending his AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing in the Four Pillars four-way match involving Jungle Boy Jack Perry. AEW star Jungle Boy Jack Perry is set to face AEW World Champion MJF at Double or Nothing on May 28th. Perry recently spoke with What Culture ahead of the title match about his personal history of getting flack for his promos and not wanting to blabber like MJF. He said, quote, "Yeah, with the promo thing, I didn't really think about that when I was on the indie," said Perry. "All I really wanted to do is wrestling. When I was a kid, I wanted to wrestle and do cool stuff. I feel like I've got that down for the most part. I feel pretty competent. I could go out there with anyone in the world and throw down. The promos, I got a lot of flack in the beginning when I said I wanted to run away when they make me do it. People thought that was a literal thing. It's an expression. It's not my favorite thing to do. I'm never going to be like MJF and show up and request 30 minutes to go out there and blabber on." He later said he didn't really care or get nervous anymore about doing promos and does want to improve. Perry, of course, won't be the only one vying for MJF's title. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara will also be in the AEW World Championship match at Double or Nothing too. MJF has been the AEW World Champion since defeating Jon Moxley at the 2022 AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. The upcoming match will be his third time defending the title. The other two times were against absolute Ricky Starks and the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. Finally, Matt Hardy's opened up on how the Firm Deletion cinematic match came together on AEW Rampage. On the March 5th episode of AEW Rampage, Matt Hardy teamed with his brother Jeff Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook to defeat the Firm's Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, Big Bill, and Stokely Hathaway at the Hardy compound in the Firm Deletion. Speaking on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, the AEW star was asked to describe when he believed the storyline could lead to a Hardy compound match. He said, quote, "Tony said, 'Hey, do you guys think we can continue this story until Jeff comes back?' I was like, I don't know when he's going to come back. It's kind of hard to have something open-ended. I said, I think we can try. I think we got some legs in what we're doing now." He said, "I would kind of like to do that. Then you guys could team up again or whatever." I said, "Okay, let me think about it." Then I remember Sanjay, who would work with us on most of the Elevation stuff. He was the guy overseeing it from a creative aspect there at the Hardy compound when we shot it. He said, "What if we do a deletion match with a big blow-off?" I was like, "Are you kidding? I would love to do that." Hardy continued on to bring up that there were talks of a singles match between him and Page, but AEW president Tony Khan came up with the idea, "Let's do a tag team bout," saying, quote, "At one point we were talking about having me versus Ethan, but then having Private Party involved, maybe having Jeff involved, whatever it may be. I do have to give Tony Khan credit." He said, "What if we do a big tag match with Jeff?" It was his idea initially to do that, so we played around with that for a little bit, and then once we got that set up, then he signed off on it, and then we were off to the races. That thought probably came in at the beginning of the year, probably like January or so. On the May 13 episode of AEW Rampage, Matt Hardy proposed a six-man tag team match with himself, Jeff Hardy, and Brother Zay, facing Ethan Page and the Guns with Page's contract on the line. So certainly, Tony Khan had planned this all the way back in January, which is certainly interesting to note too. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.